Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the PETx Podcast, where we share real advice, real stories, real strategies for those in the pet care industry. We are, well, I am your host today. My name is Wayne. Of course, Talisa and Lita are out saving the world. And today we are joined by Dr. Ashley Randall, who is a veteran in the game, right? So she has 15 years of experience and the CEO of Muse Veterinary Group. And of course, our goal with this conversation is to not only inspire, but to let everybody know that you're not alone in the journey of entrepreneurship, right? And of course, our goal after all of this is to build better pet businesses together, one conversation at a time. So, welcome, Dr. Ashley. How are you today?
I am doing great. Thank you, Wayne, for that introduction. I'm doing amazing. It's a motivating Monday, so it's good that we're talking on a Monday. And I'm excited to share what I can, what knowledge I have with you. So I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's Monday, right? I tend to like to do these things on Mondays because you have to set the tone for the week. You have to set the tone for the day, honestly. So starting off on a positive note is, or a motivating note, is where you want to be because we already know how once you get in the thick of it, you're in
Yeah,
it.
for
So
sure.
no, absolutely. So, if you don't mind, just telling everybody how you got started, um, as a veterinarian, what led you to be a veterinarian, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, well, my journey in veterinary medicine has been unique. I am not that person that, at age 5, I just knew I wanted to be a veterinarian. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I had like three or four different things. I was kind of going back and forth. So for me, my journey started in college, actually. So I was kind of late to the party. So I took an animal science elective in college, one that I did not pick. It was like an automatic pick for me.
Mhm.
But it was like one of the best things that happened in my life because it really changed the trajectory of like what I was going to do. So I took the class. I absolutely loved it. Shout out to Tuskegee University and Dr. Ralph Noble,
Mhm.
who I believe
Yes.
is at North Carolina A&T now. But yeah, I took that class and I just never looked back. I loved animals. That led me, I knew I wanted to be a small animal vet. I'm from Atlanta. I loved city life. I didn't really like urban life or rural life. So that took me out of large animal. So that's how I got into small animal. I worked at a really large practice here in Atlanta for about 7 or 8 years, and then I started my own vet practice in the West End called West End Animal Wellness Center. And that is what started my entrepreneurial journey in veterinary medicine. And a rocky one it was. But I sustained, I was able to push through, and I sold my practice a couple of years ago. And now I am working on a new venture. And entrepreneurship has really been the motivating thing mentally that has gotten me, it's taught me a lot of resilience.
Mhm.
It's taught me a lot of patience. It's really, really shown me, who I am as a person, not even just as a professional. So
I
I
love
think
it.
it's a very important journey because it's really like a faith-based journey. Like
For
you don't
sure.
really know what's gonna happen.
No, and that's important. One thing I see all the time, and I talk to other entrepreneurs about it, and they're just like, do you have a goal? Do you have a plan? Do you have the, and honestly, yes, I have an end goal. I know where I want to go and I know what I want to do. You pivot all the time,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, it's all about having that belief in yourself,
Mhm.
and having, look, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know I'm going to do my best today. And that's all I can do. That's what I bring to the table. I bring my best, you
Yeah.
know. So even with that, what has helped you just continue to love what you're doing? Because it's hard, and as a veterinarian, I know it gets a lot harder on you guys as well, just because of everything that you hear in the media, and then owning your own practice. Like, was it right out after graduation?
Gosh, no.
Oh,
And I
okay,
would
okay.
not recommend that for anybody to start a practice like right after you get out of school. I started my practice about 7 years
Okay.
after. after I
Gotcha.
got
Okay.
I had plenty of like medical training, and quite honestly, the medicine was never the problem. Like once I started my business, it
Hmm.
was the business that I did not know how to run. So that
Okay.
was more the issue for me,
Okay.
on this journey. Um, I don't know. It's very trial by fire, like you said.
Yeah.
So like I had faith in myself and confidence in my medical ability, but everything else that I did not know about business, how to put away money. I mean, simple things, putting away money
Yeah.
for taxes,
Yeah.
uh, payroll, marketing.
Hmm.
When you start a business, I don't think you realize how many different things are functioning, like working as a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Um, and then you jump into it and it's just you, and you're trying to work HR, marketing, uh,
Everything.
right, practice
Yeah.
management. I mean,
Yeah.
accounting, it's a lot, and
It
so
is.
either you learn how to do it like you said, or you end up really really struggling, and not just professionally, it's an emotional struggle too, because it's so tied to your passion, what you're passionate about. So
Hmm.
it really blurs the lines, and because of that you can really learn multiple lessons in doing it.
Now, like you said, you wear multiple hats in entrepreneurship, and it gets overwhelming. It's a lot, because I think one misconception that a lot of people think is that when they start a pet care business, it's like all you're doing is what you love to do. Like all you're doing is that one thing. So like I could wake up one morning and say, "Oh, I'm a groomer," and I start my own grooming business. But then you don't realize, like you said, I have to do marketing, I have to do payroll, I have to do HR, I have to do put money away for taxes, I have to budget properly, I have to do so many different things that comes down to it. And when it comes, when it gets to like, okay, now I'm an entrepreneur rather than just a business owner, there are so many things that are pulling you in different directions in different ways.
Right.
What are some ways that has helped you, just to be able to balance it all?
Boy, balance is a daily a daily practice. I don't know if, gosh, I mean, balance truly is a daily practice. There is a book called Balance by Torrey Roberts.
Nice.
It's a
Okay.
really good read. Torrey Roberts is Sarah Jake's Roberts' husband. She is TD Jake's daughter.
Okay.
So this book, and even if it's not from a religious standpoint, it just talks about how you become more balanced in your professional life and in your emotional life. How do we achieve that? One of the biggest lessons I learned from that book is that you have to, and you have it behind you, you have to refill your cup. You
Yeah.
have to, yeah, you have to take care of you. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot motivate anybody to do anything if you are unmotivated yourself. So
For
one
sure.
of the biggest things I learned about balance is you have to actually create boundaries around taking at least some time to make sure that you're in tune with your how you feel, how your emotions, and things like that. So that's probably one of the biggest things that I learned. Um, for me, and that comes over time, right? Like, so when I became an entrepreneur, the first 3 to 4 years of my practice, it really was hell. It was so difficult to just keep my head above water. Like, it was difficult to do everything. I didn't know anything. So I'm trying to learn these things in real time, and I have a staff to pay,
Yeah.
and bills to take care of. So it's difficult. I learned maybe about 3 years in that I had to start prioritizing myself, start paying myself, which is another thing that entrepreneurs
Yeah.
have very difficult issue with.
Yes.
I had to bring in help. That's another big thing. Balance is one part of it, but also knowing what your passion is, what you care about, what you're good at, and what you're not good at, because you
Yeah.
have to have help. There is really no way, unless you just are a jack of all trades, which most of us are not. I'm great at veterinary medicine. I know nothing about accounting. You know what I'm saying? I have to bring somebody in to be my eyes and ears on the accounting side. I have to bring somebody in to give me PR and HR information. So
Mhm.
it's important for entrepreneurs to not isolate themselves, which is one of the things that we all do because it's so stressful.
Hmm.
It's important to get the help you need so that you can get to where you want to be as an entrepreneur.
For sure. And what led you to stepping away from being an employee to being an entrepreneur?
Oh man, that part there is very individualized, I feel like, because everybody has like a different story on how they got into it. For me, I felt like, well, there were a couple of things. I had been working there for 7 years, with a great team of like six doctors who were all older. So for a long time, I was the youngest doctor,
Okay.
um, or the least experienced doctor. And so I learned so much. It had an ER attached. I learned my job really, really well. I learned medicine really, really well. So that helped prepare me. But it was, um, I felt like I had learned as much as I could learn there, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I'm the
No,
type of person that
absolutely.
always wants to know more. I'm a forever student. I'm going to be a
Yeah.
student until I die. Like,
That's
just
game.
want to learn. I want to know. And so I mean, I had capped out on like I had seen a thousand different cases, and
Hmm.
then they start repeating. Things start to become a bit more redundant,
Hmm.
and I had nowhere to go up in that organization. Again, I was the youngest doctor, there, and for 7 years I did a great job, but I was still, not a senior doctor. There was a ceiling.
Gotcha.
So when I got married and got pregnant. That was really what changed my perspective. I was like, I want to be able to work less hours per week. I want to be able, when she gets older, I want to be able to participate in her events. I want to do all of these things. And I wanted to have a job or a career that gave me the leverage to do that.
Hmm.
And at the time, I think I was working like 50 something hours a week, 40 minutes from home, So
So it was pulling you away a
it
lot.
was pulling me away. Yeah. So those were the things, the ceiling, as well as the fact that I started a family, really
Yeah.
made me start to think about what I wanted long term. And though I knew I wanted veterinary medicine, I did not necessarily want that setting long
Yeah.
term. I didn't want to be an employee long term.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just decided to charter my own path.
And then worked more.
And so this
And
was
then,
the thing, the things they don't tell you about entrepreneurship is that, the first 5 years is just horrible. Like the first
yeah.
5 years is like I'm working more. So
Yeah.
but it did help me to, like, I can make my schedule, right? Like I can pick and
Yeah.
choose when I arrive, when I leave, what things I need to get done. So in that regard, it was easier, but absolutely you're right. For the first few years, I was there 6 days a week, and I
Yeah.
left the job where I was there 5 days a week. So it made it harder for a while, but it turned out to be one of the best journeys that I've taken, because now my daughter's 11. I can do
Hmm.
what I want. I can
Yeah.
participate in whatever I want to. I can make my own schedule. I don't have to, I come and go as I please, so it did work out in the end. But if anybody tells you that it's going to be easy, like from beginning to end, that is just not a truth. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very hard the first few years.
And I feel like, especially in our field, right?
Mhm.
We deal with such high turnover, and me being an RVT, right?
Mhm.
So it's already hard enough to find the right environment to
Mhm.
work in, and it's already in being on the grooming side, like turnover is still high,
Yeah.
because you get so many people that want to make money, but nobody wants to work. And then being the boss, you still have to be there, you have to be present, you're making the money, you're seeing, and then it's frustrating because you're like, I'm putting so much into this
Yeah.
to help you all, and I need the same. I need the same work ethic. I need the
Yeah.
same understanding and things like that. And my question would be like, how do you motivate, your team, and then coming from a successful team and then having your own team and building it up to make sure that it is successful, and then totally, starting a whole new team because you started another team with Muse. So just throughout your matriculation through like your journey, it's just like, what is that constant to help try to cultivate a better team aspect or a better
Yeah.
environment?
That's a really good question. So, and my answer has changed over time. So,
Yeah.
when I started as an entrepreneur, I had some level of managerial experience, just being the veterinarian on staff. Managing like the receptionists and the vet assistants, things like that. So I had some level of understanding. But what I did not understand about people, is that people really, it's hard to manage everybody the same way. I mean, people's personalities are different. So one of the first big lessons I got is that you cannot manage everyone the same way. You can give everyone the same rules, right?
Yeah.
You can give everyone the same disciplinary actions for said rules, but you can't talk to uh
Everybody the same way.
everybody, yeah, like you can't talk to everybody the same way. Some people are
Yeah,
sensitive. Some people need it spoon fed to them. Some people need it straight, no chaser.
for sure.
So learning, probably one of the first things an entrepreneur with a team should do is learn the personalities of your team. So
Hmm.
it's not even, before you can get them to buy into what you're doing, you've got to understand who you got on your team. So, and you need to make sure that you have the right pieces to the team, which is also equally difficult when you're starting out, because you might not know what you don't know. But
Hmm.
cultivating the team is step one. Step two would be um, giving them your vision in a way that you're passionate about it. Like, I did not understand this at first, but I created with West End. I wanted to, our tagline was quality, affordable animal healthcare, right? I had to make my staff understand these are the goals of the business. This is the mission and the vision of the business. And then it was their job, if I picked the right team, it was their
Hmm.
job to carry that forward. And then they were rewarded for that.
Yeah.
What that has evolved into with Muse, because Muse is a different animal. I mean, the team that I have built with Muse, the administrative team, they are
Hmm.
all juggernauts in what they do. It's not me managing um employees, if that makes
Okay.
sense. It's not that these are, and they're all women. So I'll say this is a team of women who are high powered, who know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and who are all entrepreneurs and bosses in their own right. With them, again, cultivating the team. I feel like I have a super good team that knows every bit of what their part of the business is.
Hmm.
But really just giving them, being passionate. They're all passionate because I'm passionate, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So they all love the vision. They love what we're trying to achieve. And every day I try to like fortify that thought. I try to um support the fact that this is a team effort.
Hmm.
If there's any dissension in the team, because of course, because we are all very good at what we do, we're all very passionate about what we do. So that sometimes that creates some tension, some discussion that needs to be had. We have those discussions. I try to be as communicative and upfront and honest with them as I can be. And that has truly been helpful. You really lead by example. You
For
can't,
sure.
you can't have a team and want them to do something and then you're doing something completely different.
Totally
It
different.
takes a
Yeah.
lot of personal development to lead a
Yeah.
team. And yeah, those are the things that I find to be helpful with team leadership.
And you just mentioned it. What are some personal and professional development tips or things that have helped you along the way? Because I
Um,
mean, and the reason why I ask is like getting into leadership and managerial skills and being an entrepreneur and being the boss and the business owner, you have to work on yourself a
yeah,
lot,
yes,
lot, you know.
yes.
So just coming from one boss to another, what are some personal and professional development, things that have helped you along the way?
One, meditation, prayer. Even if you are not religious, at minimum meditation, focusing on yourself, getting in tune with yourself, understanding and knowing what you need versus what you want, what your emotions are, why you feel the way you feel. It's so important to know yourself really, really well, because that is going to help you pick a team that is good for you. That's gonna help you in every aspect of entrepreneurship. So the first thing would be um to know yourself. And in that, this is like a sub
Yeah.
heading.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Get the therapy you need, okay? Get the healing that you need because and I'm being serious because
Yeah.
the more junk, distraction, whatever is going on in your personal life, the more you have not dealt with inner childhood stuff, the more you are, because a team really is a family. So the more you are going to rub off on your team in a negative way, not talk to them in the way that they need, not care for them, not be patient with them, and not really manage their needs and wants, which is important for a team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So get the healing, meditation, therapy, on the personal side. On the professional side, take the classes. So I took a class, and this does not have to be like high level. I'm going back to college. It can be a certification class. I took one called Medpreneurs by Dr. Dre, who is an
Hmm.
OBGYN. And basically, it's a class I found. It was like every Saturday virtually for like 12 weeks or something. And he gives tips on how to be a good entrepreneur, how to pick your team. It
Hmm.
really so doing those types of things, doing master's classes, working on reading is another
Hmm.
huge one. Like my library up here
Yeah.
is getting quite full. Reading,
No, same.
yeah, like reading those self-help books, reading those business books. A lot of my books are business books.
Yeah.
Doing just trying to fill in the gaps of the things that you know you don't have, which comes from knowing yourself, right? Like I know I don't have a business degree. I've never taken a business class in my life. So I had to read, I had to study, I had to take on mentors. That's another
Mhm.
big thing. To help me learn enough, right? Because I'm not gonna be a PhD accountant, but I've
Yeah.
learned enough to not fall into like being had by I
No,
know enough
for sure.
to keep myself from getting into situations. So that would be it. Meditation, um, working on healing therapy is huge. Reading, researching master's classes, just making sure that you are being the highest level version of yourself that you can be.
Mhm.
And then those things translate into your business.
No, makes sense. Makes
Mhm.
sense. No, absolutely. And then even with just growing the team, how do you so okay, so it's a lot of work on ourselves,
Mhm.
but then I feel like you mentioned earlier is being able to not portray, share that vision and get others to kind of buy into your vision as well.
Mhm.
When they don't see eye to eye, how do what are like some communication tactics that we as leaders can help with our staff is just like, look, I tell you, I'm here, I'm showing you, I'm working, I'm like these are the things that I need to do, or these are the steps that needs to be taken in order for us to get here.
Right.
But somehow there's a miscommunication there. There's something that's just not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because I mean we all go through it, but
Mhm.
how do we get past that, or how do we help with that part of it?
Yeah. So for me, it depends on what it is. So
Yeah.
if it's something where I've got two colleagues, I've got two administrators who are passionate about whatever their stance is, and the stance is opposite each other. That
Mhm.
to me is actually not a hard situation. I welcome confrontation, and I always set my team up for, hey, when we have team meetings, I'm like, this is for discussion. That's the whole point. So I try to set the expectation that even if we get into an exchange, this does not change my overall view of your work ethic, what you bring to the table, what value you have. And so in a lot of different settings, not even just with Muse, I do relief work as well. And so in each setting, I'm typically able to communicate really well with the team because I set expectation up front. And I would strongly recommend that entrepreneurs set expectations up front and also set them for yourself, right? Set them for yourself and then say, listen, I mean, I might fall short, we're going to have grace with each other because, and I had a situation last week where my time frame was off for something that I had asked my team to do. And so it caused some issues. I was the first one to apologize and say, that was on me. My time frame was off. So just making sure you communicate up front. I also try to communicate in multiple ways. So I might send an email and say, hey, I'm going to contact you later about XYZ. That'll at least put the thought there. Then I'll contact you, say, hey, what's a good time where we can talk? And
Hmm.
then I try to go into discussions, always giving whoever it is the benefit of the doubt, right? Like I don't want to go in and be judgmental because that does come through in your communication style. Like if you're judging somebody, they can tell. And they that usually shuts them down.
Especially us.
Yeah, they can tell. I mean, like I'm like, they can tell. So I just try to go into it
Yeah.
open-minded because in my experience, it has made team members more vulnerable and more open and willing to talk and share with me so I can figure out what's going on so we can figure out what
Hmm.
needs to happen. If
Hmm.
somebody just doesn't buy into the dream, I have to consider that they are not the right person. If I'm doing all these things, right? And they're still not giving me whatever work level I need or whatever, they might not be the right person for the job. And that's okay. It's better to get somebody out of position who's not supposed to be there because that person starts to become a toxic person, right, in the workforce. And then you start losing morale on your people who've been doing stuff. They're like, well, why is she not doing what I'm doing? So you
Yeah.
have to be aware of that and you have to be willing to, cut it short.
No, 100%. And I agree with everything that happens. I don't want to say like the lower level, but you know what I mean? Like everything that happens within the business outside of like the leadership or executive team,
The
it does
staff.
fall on the stat, right? It falls on us and
Yeah.
our leadership skills and our ability to communicate and things like that. So I agree 100% that we can't or should not in any way cultivate a toxic work environment.
Yeah.
So yes, we have to apologize first because it does fall on us if anything does fall, it doesn't work well. And it's our strategies, it's our organization, it's the way that we handle certain situations, it's our communication. So a lot of that does fall on us to be, just better ourselves.
Mhm.
But there are so many people who feel like the norm is the toxic work environment,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and especially in our field.
Mhm.
We come from totally different management styles, different managers, things like that. So I love that you said like if something happens, I apologize first.
Yeah.
Because same, I feel like somehow, some way I dropped the ball because it does fall on me. So I apologize, but let's go ahead and figure out a solution with this thing. Um, Now, from us, we understand that part, but there are a lot of people who don't.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for those that are listening, and they may be part of the management, or they may be, the staff, and they have managers that they may not, necessarily see eye to eye with, or things like that. How do we get to a better place with having a better work environment in the
Um,
vet field or
there are a
pet?
few ways to cultivate a good work environment, and honestly, it takes team. It takes everybody. Majority of people participating to make the work environment better. From a management standpoint, again, clear rules, number one. So I find that a
Yeah,
lot of times when I assess a business, because I do some business consulting, one of the first issues is there's not clear rules. There's not
yeah.
clear guidance on what to do if XYZ happens. There's not a clear handbook, or the handbook is 500 pages long and nobody's
Nobody's reading that.
right. So, like that type of thing is a very simple way as a manager that you can gain some level of control's not the best word to gain some level of focus back from your team is having clear rules. Number one. Number two, having clear consequences.
Mhm.
So if you've got a team who is used to coming in 30 minutes late every single day, then you're going to have to sit them down, post your rules, and then there have to be consequences, and the consequences have to be the same across the board.
Yeah,
Um, Whatever it is, first time you're late, there's a verbal warning. Second time you're late, there's a written, whatever it is, it
yeah.
has to be the same for every employee. So that's a great way to stop dissension right there. And that is also a great way to assess who is on your team and who is not on your team. because as soon as you start setting rules and goals and consequences, the people who don't want to follow are going to X themselves out anyway. You see what I'm saying? So a lot
Yeah.
of times you'd be surprised. I was consulting one of my very good girlfriends who has been a practice manager for a while, and she was a practice manager for me first. And so she would call me, with situations and like, what do I do? And so the first thing we did was put in an attendance policy.
Mhm.
That she lost maybe 4 or 5 employees from just the attendance policy because they were like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
The third thing is not to get offended. When they quit, when they leave, you don't
Yeah.
get offended. You have to set a bar. It's almost like a relationship. You have to set a bar and you got to stay up here.
Yeah.
So I try to function in that way. And yes, it rubs people the wrong way, for sure. But the people it's rubbing the wrong way are the people I don't want on my team anyway. So if
For
you
sure.
can't do something as simple as we're talking about attendance, if you can't do something as simple as come to your job that
On
pays
time.
you, then I don't have the time or the energy to teach you how to come to a job. You can just not have a job if that's what you want to do. So you have to set that standard, you have to create it, and then you have to be fair about it and not easily or deeply offended, which is another problem I see a lot. Is that somebody is new in management, they're maybe insecure about what they're doing, and they get pushback from an employee, and all of a sudden, I just, they're upset.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to let that stuff roll off your back. You have to understand that they're upset, the employee's upset with your position, not with you, like you as a person, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, so functioning in that way is definitely a great way to start changing the culture, rules,
No, for sure.
consequences.
Yeah, and trust me, I I get it. I My grooming salon is nothing but women.
Mhm.
So you get, that.
What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that
No offense. No, 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 but you get that, that back
like
and forth, and
the
you get,
cattiness, the kind of
yeah,
passive
you know,
aggressive shade?
right.
Yeah.
And we're working on communication. We're working on, everybody seeing, eye to eye on things and being able to work together as a team. And it's a great team.
Mhm.
It's just making sure because they're not only in my environment, but I do have others that tell about their environments and their managers and, you know, some people getting treated differently than others and things like
Mhm.
that. So it's just making sure that as a team, we are working towards being positive. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah, let me see. Before I started Happy Hearts, let me see, I was a tech for about 11 years. And throughout all of the positions that I've had with other hospitals and everything, I mean, a few of them were really, really good, but majority of them were like, okay, you take things way too personally,
Mhm.
but it's the business. Like we're taking
Mhm.
care of the business. And that's what I see now. It's like you can't allow emotion to really like you're going to be emotionally attached to it because this is your business, this is your baby, this is, your passion project, everything that you have is put into it. So of course, but at the end of the day, I still have to take care of the business,
Right.
and a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah.
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 And but that's a
But you know what? To add on one more thing to what you're saying, a lot of times, and that shows up in different ways when they don't get that. So when a manager is offended, it can show up in either they go hard after a person, right? Like now they've got a vendetta against said employee, or the complete opposite. They just stick their head in the sand like an ostrich and
yeah,
just avoid. So I see both happening. And what happens when they avoid is that the people can kind of run rampant and do what they want to do. And then you're back in that same boat. So I try to teach people it's important to not care about like how you are being perceived as a manager. It's important for you to carry the rules forward and all that. It's important for you also to not care so
mm,
much about what people say because people are crazy. So
yeah,
so this one manager I was telling you she lost all these employees. One of
uh-huh,
them told her she was being a complete BICCH because she wanted her to come to work on time. Like those types of things cannot be Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
audacity is at an all-time high in 2025. But
Oh,
yeah,
for
like
sure. For
people
sure.
try to intentionally push your buttons to see what they can get out of you. And it's
Hmm.
important for you not to spend energy there. There's no point in spending energy on an employee who's not gonna make it to the, next month.
Yeah.
Who
No,
cares?
and trust me, we've had an employee who you mentioned it. It just every day show like we set clear rules like, hey, you need to be here at this time.
Mhm.
But every single day it was like 20 minutes late, 30
Mhm.
minutes late, an hour after that.
Mhm.
And no barely any communication. So at some point, because I think, like you said, the entitlement with this generation, my this is our generation, right?
Mm-mm,
Uh,
this is not
and
my
then-
generation, honey. This is not my generation. This is like the 25-year-old, the 25 to
well,
30.
millennials and Gen Z and all of these people, right?
Listen.
The entitlement is at an all-time high, right?
Mhm.
And it's just like, yo, I'm doing my best and you see how hard I'm working. So all I ask for is that you show up because you wouldn't be treating anybody else's business like this,
Yeah,
and it's
and
like,
and listen, and I'm not gonna let you treat mine like this. You can go. It is
and I'm
okay.
okay with that. And that is okay. And that
Yeah.
is okay, right? Um, okay. Well, because we could get into employees and stuff and all of
Yeah,
that.
I don't want to
How,
employee bash. There are great employees.
right.
I have had
There
some
is.
amazing employees, and most of the people that I employed at West End, we are still cool, regardless of if they worked for me the whole time, regardless if they quit or I fired them.
Mhm.
We are still cool. I had an employee who I fired for something that he knew he shouldn't have done. But maybe like a year or two later, he came back and he apologized. Like he came to the clinic, apologized to me, and was like, I know I was tripping.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I try to keep those relationships open, but a way that you do that is not being offended by things that people do and say, because you never know, like, especially right now, what people are going through at home. And
Mhm.
most people, it's important as a manager to know that most people don't know how to compartmentalize work from home. Like that's just
Yeah.
not how most people are built. And so it turns into Susan is being cranky at the front desk and she being short with the clients because she got something going on. So it's important to give people grace so that they can kind of work through.
What they're going. Yeah. And relationships are huge, especially in this industry. It's small, it's big, but it's small at the same time. And somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows you. So it's like I don't want to have a bad name out here in these streets, you
Yeah.
know? So no, it makes a lot of sense. So you have to make sure that, yeah, and that's one thing that I work hard to maintain is like you see people as people and not as numbers.
Mhm.
And that's what prompted me to get out of corporate was because they saw us even in my leadership position, they saw us as, oh, you have to have 40 appointments, you have to bring in this amount of money, you can't do that. And I'm like, no, we got to take care of our people. We
Mhm.
have to make sure that the people are happy and they have a great work environment and we show them that we care and we listen and we want to do what's best for them. But it was so much pushback when it came down to that. So just now in this arena, I'm like, look, we have to, people are people and people are going to go through what people are going to go through. Everybody has lives and things like that, so we have to make sure that we meet them halfway on that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, this is still a business that needs to
Yeah.
be ran.
Hmm.
you know
Absolutely.
Okay, but off of the staff and employees, how can there has been for the longest a disconnect with pet professionals and veterinarians. And I want to make sure that moving forward, like what we're doing now is really cultivating or encouraging a relationship between pet professionals and veterinarians and their doctors. Like what we do is when we get records, we'll call, not only to verify, but at least just to say, like, hey, we have so and so, build a relationship just so that we can still keep that network going. And there are a lot of people who are not up to speed with that yet. So, what are some tips and ways that pet care professionals can cultivate a better relationship with veterinarians and vice versa? Because it's important. We are part of the pet care team.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'm okay. Let's talk about the origin of the issue first. So I feel
So,
like, look, steps up on soapbox. I
yes.
I feel like the start of the issue or the distance between pet professionals versus veterinarians is when all of those services left the veterinary practice. So let's start there. These services, grooming, boarding, whatever it is, those services all
Training. Yeah.
started in the veterinary practices. And so they were a part of that, right? But then,
Hmm.
of course, we started to take a turn probably somewhere 15 years ago, somewhere in there where people were like, you know what? I want to be an entrepreneur. So I would say that at this point in 2025, most people, and I don't know if this is a good thing. I actually don't think it's a good thing, but a lot of people are entrepreneurial minded in the sense that social media has made people feel like I don't need
Hmm.
you know, a regular job. I can do this on my own.
Hmm.
Some people can, some people cannot. There's nothing wrong either way, but that is
Yeah,
what the issue started when those services left vet clinics.
for sure.
Once those services left vet clinics, yes, half of I would say half of the providers function like you, where they're like, okay, we still need to be connected to a vet clinic in some way, like let me make sure your records are good. But half didn't. Half were like, this
Yeah.
is my business.
I don't
I
need the
I don't
extra.
need the vet.
Yeah.
I don't need the veterinarian. And I think how do I say this without being offensive? There is a hierarchy there, and it's
Hmm.
there for a reason, right? So like the veterinarian is the authority on whether the skin is infected, whether the ears are infected, things that I know you see as a groomer. Like the
Hmm.
vet is the authority on that. The problem comes into play when people do not respect that authority and they
Hmm.
start giving out advice. Medical advice is a big one. Telling people, oh, you don't need the vet for this, you can do this. Doing though, and then not doing things in the way that they're supposed to do them. Groomers, I've had plenty of accidents come from groomers, none from you, of course, but
No.
plenty of accidents. I've had deaths from groomers, and
Hmm.
and all of it could have been avoided if A, the service was provided at a vet clinic, or
Hmm.
B, that person was at least tapped in enough to rely on veterinary advice. People have
For
got
sure.
to stop leaning on their own understanding of things. If you do not have a doctorate degree. Doesn't mean you're not smart, doesn't mean you don't know anything about pets, but if you do
Mhm.
not have a doctorate degree in veterinary medicine, then you should not be giving out medical advice, and you should be encouraging clients to be in constant communication with their vet about what's going on with their pet. So
Absolutely.
that would be, I would say, if more service providers would get on board with that and stop acting like we are the enemy, I think it
Hmm.
would be a little easier. And I think vets have kind of soured toward
Hmm.
that industry as well because they don't rely on us. You wait until something is dying, and then you still kind of are like, I don't trust what you're saying. Like that definitely has created distance in the industry, and I wish we could figure out how to fix that.
No, 100%. Because we get a lot of people, family, even friends that are just like, "Hey, XYZ is doing this. What is your
Mhm.
advice?" And I'm like, "Go to your vet." I can't prescribe anything. I can't diagnose anything. I can't do anything more than say, "Hey, go to your doctor,"
Yeah,
because the next thing is going to be like, oh, well, Wayne told me this. Wayne said
right,
this. Wayne said that. And now I'm at risk for my license. I'm at risk for my business because it may not be the right thing to say. And I think a lot of people that have worked in this field for so long, they're so comfortable just saying or diagnosing.
right,
But I'm just like, no, you can't do that as a pet
yeah,
professional because you didn't go to school for this, right? So it's now we're getting to, okay, I need you to, I've even called vets and just said, hey, this is what I saw. I just want to put it in record
mhm,
that we're calling, put this in their record in case they come. If they do come, cool. If they don't come, this is recorded.
mhm,
And I think a lot of people or pet professionals should take that extra step because it shows that you care,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, like, we are, again, part of their team, so we have to build a better relationship with each other, because we do see the patients a lot more than you guys do. So
Yeah.
we need to make sure that, any type of skin abrasions or skin issues, teeth issues, whatever, behavioral, whatever we see, we need to make sure that we are in great communication, so that everything is on the same page. Now, as far as cultivating that, you know what,
Put it
I think
back. Put it back in
we
the
just
vet clinic.
look, no, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I think because you get a lot of clients who are like, hey, do you know a groomer? Do you know a pet sitter? Do you know a dog walker? Do you know a trainer?
Mhm.
And a lot of places they do not know these people because
Right.
it is not offered in their service, right? So figuring out how to get it back in the hospitals, because not only will it help the hospital make more money, because I think we're just relying people to come in when their dogs are they need vaccines or sick or surgery or anything like that, or medication. That does put a lot of strain, but when you do have these auxiliary services, it does help with certain hospitals that get a lot of those people who are asking these things, to help with revenue, and things
Yeah.
like that, and it's a better relationship there too.
And I look, I say that, but probably vets are like, no, because what has happened now is like, and I hate this, grooming is one of those services where people like to get real cray cray. So a lot of
Mhm.
times vets don't want to deal with the client. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
if
no,
something happens
absolutely.
at or whatever. So I get it. I get it both ways. Maybe the best thing to do is like every pet service industry person maybe build a relationship with a local vet somewhere
Mhm.
near you so that you can have bartering back and forth. I mean, it creates good business both ways. We had a groomer that was down the street from West End. We did in-house baths. We didn't do any haircutting. Excuse me, she came down. We had a great conversation. We basically set it up where we had her discount cards. If they used us, they got a whatever 15% discount. She had ours. If they boarded with her and did grooming with her, they get 25% off our services. So Bart, like
Yeah,
having that type of relationship, and I never had issues from this groomer.
yeah,
Having that, at least that type of relationship really is beneficial for your pet service business because at some point somebody's going to ask you for some kind of medical advice, and
yeah,
you need to be reliable and trustworthy, not, oh, just go get some Otamax from over the counter and we don't even know you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
right.
it's important. I would love for us to get back on board with that, but that is going to take some level of trust and building relationship. And we can start with it being just like a one-on-one thing. I'm
Mhm.
always trying to find what where's the bakery, where's the pet bakery, where's the groomer, where is the boarding facility? Where are my options around me so that I can create a better service for my clients? And
For
in
sure.
turn, I'm going to these places
Yeah,
and I'm like, hey, here's our card. Let
yeah.
anybody know, you need a rabies to board. They don't have one, send them our way. So it's really about the hustle and the grind, and people have to stop isolating themselves, you know, and be more
No,
community.
and I agree 100%. So that's why well, one, we put together the PetX network and put together Petlanta, because I'm just like, there's been so many people that are like, oh, I didn't realize that there was this many black groomers, or there were this many black trainers or anything like that. And I'm just like, why? Why is there's so much the mindset of competition as opposed to community. And
Right,
right now we're building, we're trying to change the needle here. We're trying to change, just how the mindset view, or how people see community, rather than just saying, oh, I don't want to, talk to the groomer down the street. Like, no,
right.
I have, like, right down the street is groomed by Adrian. Adrian and
Okay.
I, we have a great relationship. Like, if I need dye, I'm gonna go over there. If I need to send somebody over there, or he needs to send somebody my way, we take care of each other, because it's like we're building that community, and it's like we want to be able to trust the people that we're referring clients to. So why
Yes.
not build a relationship with those people, right?
Mhm.
And it's just, It's it's a lot.
It's a process. It's a
It is
process,
definitely a
but
process for sure.
we have to just try to be more community minded. It's great that you guys have that. And some vets do, but I swear this corporate medicine, I feel
Yeah.
like that has just non-personalized the complete it is just completely sterile at this point.
Mhm.
Like the doctors don't want to, we're not any better. I'm not trying to, the doctors don't want to talk to anybody.
Mhm.
It's very everybody is isolated and really kind of selfish. We're in it, for self or whatever, but it makes for a better client experience, community experience when everybody is on one accord. And it also makes for people trusting their vet more because I'm tired of having to argue about some medical advice I gave
Mhm.
because the breeder said that it was
Yeah.
not the right medical advice. Like I'm tired of having that argument with somebody who hasn't done what I've done. So,
Cemetery.
I would love to build those relationships. Breeders are probably like a whole nother hour long conversation.
No,
Um,
absolutely. Like even with grooming, it's like, oh, this dog doesn't need to be combed or brushed. And I'm like, no, we see this every single day. Okay. We see this all the time. Like, no, your breeder isn't grooming dogs. Your breeder doesn't go to vet school. Your breeder doesn't do what we do. So come on, like that's yeah, yeah.
Sure,
That's
advice.
like going to your doctor asking them how to bake a cake. The doctor probably doesn't know how to bake a cake. Okay, your doctor knows how to do what the doctor knows how to
Well,
do.
going to your doctor and saying, "Look, this is what I saw on Google, so I don't know if I believe what you said because Google said," and I'm like, I can't
Like,
do it.
come on. But yes, that's yeah, that's a whole nother conversation now. All right. Well, before we do conclude, what are some words of encouragement you have for those that are in the pet industry, uh, looking to be in the pet industry, just or entrepreneurship as a whole, like words of encouragement for people who are wanting to explore working with animals in entrepreneurship.
Um, words of advice. My first would be find your passion. Find what it is that you are passionate about in this industry. Um, and really focus on that craft. Focus on being the best at whatever it is that you like to do. Once you find that passion, the second thing would be to actually pour into it. Like you and I were saying, like entrepreneurship is not a journey where you go from beginning to being successful immediately. There is always going to be a period of struggle, sacrifice, um, a humbling period. Like all of these things are going to happen before you become successful. So you kind of have to develop the resilience to make it to stay the course
Mhm.
and to focus and to really bet on yourself. Have the confidence and the wherewithal to know that you can do it, and
Yeah,
also have the wherewithal to know what you don't know and
yeah.
what you need to outsource. Those are probably the best pieces of advice I could give to anybody looking to start an entrepreneurial venture. Um, yeah, man, bet on yourself, believe in yourself, stay the course. It's rough. It's
But
like
it's worth
working
it.
out. It's like when you want to lose 20, 30 pounds, those first few months are hell, right? Like it hurts, it's awful. You got to get
Yeah,
into it. Like it's
still
horrible, but
hurts.
eventually you start seeing some level of results. And if you stick
Yeah.
with it, you'll get where you want to go.
Oh, trust me, I'm in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 days a week. I'm like, I see it. It's still rough because it's
It's
like,
rough.
oh man, what am I doing here? But when those clothes start to fit different, when you
Right.
start to watch what you eat and you see the results of it, and people start complimenting you, your skin's clear, your hair is growing, and it's just like, oh, okay, this
Yeah.
this is not
Like it's
so
paying
bad.
off.
It's paying off. So no, absolutely. That is great. What is there anything that you have going on? Anything that we can support or just let people know where they can find you and keep updated with what you have happening
Yeah,
in.
sure. Okay, so you guys can follow me in a couple of different places on Facebook, Ashley Randall, on Instagram, Dr. Ashley DVM, all together, lowercase. LinkedIn, I'm also Ashley Randall on LinkedIn. Our Muse Veterinary Group website, if you want to learn more about the project, the mission and vision, the website is www.musevet.com. And we are hopeful to have our first acquisition done within the next couple of months. We finally got a financial partner. So we are
Yes,
working details now, and hopefully we will be coming to the Atlanta area very soon.
I love that. I love that. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, if look, we'll be at if you have a ribbon cutting ceremony or
Yes,
anything like please let me know.
I will
Okay.
absolutely let you know. And we do plan on doing that. So I will let you know.
Good, good. And as I you just mentioned it, LinkedIn. So many people are not on LinkedIn as entrepreneurs or as business leaders. I
Yeah,
recommend, even though it's another social media platform, get on LinkedIn. There's so many people who, and this is not even like to promote LinkedIn, but just because you mentioned it, it's just like I see the benefits of being on LinkedIn
yes,
so much more now than I did before. And you will get those connections that you need, that help that you need, that mentor that you're looking for, everything you need for your business because there's so many professionals on LinkedIn rather than your clients or your peers, on other social media platforms. But you're looking for that professional help, get on LinkedIn.
absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So that is a wrap for today's episode. If you got value in this, please, 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 please give us a follow on Instagram at the PETx Network. Hit subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Yeah, well, of course, on YouTube as well. Share, comment, and subscribe, and definitely share with another pet pro or anybody in entrepreneurship because these are the things, even though we are niche,
Pet professionals. Pet
yes, right,
professionals.
into the pet industry. Entrepreneurship is universal. So anything and everything that we talk about can be used in your journey for entrepreneurship. So, and if you are looking for a community to build with, definitely check out the PetX Network as we continue to build and bring pet professionals together because together is how we build better pet businesses. So we'll see y'all next time.